Kol hashoneh alachot b'chol yom. The two mitzvot of the day today is B'ezrat Hashem the second of Marach Shvan. The shiur B'ezrat Hashem is sponsored L'Nishmat Yecheskel Natanel Ben Arav Abishai Alevi Shlita, and also L'Refuah Shlema L'Kol Am Yisrael B'Chalam Chaya Batea. All B'ezrat Hashem, anyone like to sponsor, you could reach out, or you could go to savealljews.org. All right, mitzvah number 55. It's going to be mitzvah beidin ladun beniske have'er. The beidin has an obligation to judge cases that were caused by damages by his animal, either by eating of somebody else's produce or by stepping it. Let's see. And then we have mitzvah 55. It's going to be beidin ladun beniske ha'esh. Judges, the judges are obligated to judge cases where the damage occurred by fire. Okay. Ladun beniske shen v'regel. We have an obligation to judge cases where a person's animal ate of somebody else's properties or stepped over somebody else's land and destroyed the crops with his feet. כלומר, מי שהזיק לחברו נזק הבא מחמת השן או מחמת רגל. So basically, your animal caused damage to somebody else's property. You're obligated, regardless whether it was by eating of the produce or by stepping over it. כגון, שהכניס בהמתו בשדה, חברו, ואכלה שם, או הפסידה יונקותיו, ועברה שם ברגליה. So what happens is, you have sprouting crops, right? And then you have cooked produce, meaning tomatoes or cucumbers. So an animal walks into the property of another person and starts eating the tomatoes or the cucumbers, where those expensive ones. Or even in the beginning stage, before they start sprouting, the animals start walking in the field and trample on everything. So we have an obligation, we are obligated actually, to go and charge him, to make him pay, obligate him to pay from the most best property that he owns. So the guy owns few lands, and he has a few types of tomatoes. So the fact that his animal went into somebody's properties and then damaged the other person's whatever it was, we're gonna take from his best, not just to cover up. You have to make sure he pays for the best. Shelo kol ma she'efsid. Okay, everything that the person has to pay to cover up the loss to the other person that his animal caused. Shneimar, it says in Shmot Chav Bet, 22nd chapter pasuk Dalet, ki va'er ish. And over there it's talking about where Ivar means the destruction. So destruction occurred. And it's talking about the Chachamim teach us what does that mean, destruction occurred. You had beautiful tomatoes here, you have beautiful cucumbers, a whole field, and this guy's animal went ahead and devoured it also. Ivar means devouring. Over there, specifically the Torah, in this pasuk, Dalet, and chapter 22 in Shmot, the Torah, our sages established, it's talking about devouring by mouth. So what is, so Yivai, Be'ira sounds like the same word. No, the sages say later on it will be the Be'ira, it's actually going to take the next mitzvah in Pasuk Hey, that's going to be talking about fire. Sorry, over here, sorry. So the Be'ira over there also is going to be discussing by feet. The Torah obligates a person to pay from his best field for the damages that his animals caused when he allowed his animals to go loose into other people's properties. Okay? Shoresh mitzvah mishpat yadua. So again, the next few, the previous few, and the next few, we're discussing in reference to the judgments how we're supposed to be judging certain cases, and obviously everybody understands why, and it's important to have judges amongst civilized communities. All right, as we already discussed. Dinea, in the video world, go to previous shurim, you'll find out what we said. Dinea kagon ma'hem hamakomot shechayavin sham al hashen ve'aregel. So what are the locations that would be common for animals, his person's animals, to damage people by eating or by feed? Which are locations, and also there are certain locations that you're not going to be chayav for your animal eating other people's properties. For instance, one of the things, So he says, what's the chiluk? What is the difference between those two locations? Hadin be'ochelet ma she'ra'uila. Also, there's going to be so the difference between those locations, but you're going to mention it here, is if it's in somebody else's property. Here you have a field. You're supposed to have gates in your field. The animal somehow got in there, caused damage. You have to pay. The guy left, let's say, a shopping bag outside of Reshut Rabim. Like, let's say a person like a carriage. The people go in a carriage. Many people shopping with carriages, and they're going right. And the cow, and he left the carriage in the street. My cow is walking around. He sees nice, delicious cake. He takes the whole thing over there. The whole carriage is destroyed, right? Maybe for the carriage. What's his name? The animal. Do I have to pay for the carriage even? The cow was eating. You left the carriage in the Reshut Rabim. It's your fault. You left the property, your property in public place. You should be careful. I have an obligation to watch my animal. It's true, but my animal usually doesn't harm anybody. You were the fool. You left it outside. You're going to be responsible. It's not my fault. But again, if it's Reshut Rabim, I'm patur. Reshut Yachid. Reshut Rabim means public domain. I'm not obligated. Private domain, I am obligated.
So you have the car outside, park outside, and the car is coming in.
That's what they do. That's what they used to do.
The car, you're not responsible?
No. If the guy, let's say, what you're saying is, what you're trying to probably asking, you have a pickup truck, and your pickup truck, you have all the carrots sticking out.
No, suppose I have a regular car, my car.
And my cow broke into the car?
Yeah, and the car is parked.
Right, the car is closed?
It was closed, everything.
Okay, maybe
he came and he hit the car.
If you, oh no, you have to damage, you have to pay for that.
Why?
I have to pay for that.
Yes, and
On the carriage? While he was taking out food, maybe it's too exposed. So you're saying for the carriage you have to pay. For the food not.
Okay.
Yeah, for the food. Like you say, let's say you have a car that's closed, the car, and the bull broke it with his horns, and he got in there. So Mustafa, for the car you have to pay, but for the food, no. But then I could say, no, it's your fault. My cow, you left the food inside there. But it's Reshut Rabim. What do you mean? What's your animal? Okay, you could argue. Very good. מה הן שאין חייבים מהן? אוקיי. וחילוק הדין באוכלת מה שראוי לה לאכול למה שאין ראוי. Sometimes the animal, what do? They like to chew. Maybe they eat poison, right? So let's say you have poisoned tomatoes. I don't know. You were trying to poison the rats in your house, right? And you had a whole package of poisoned tomatoes that you prepared for the rats or whatever it is, and not tomatoes, whatever the animals eat. And this animal came, my animal started eating the poison. Barabim, it's barabim. I put in the barabim. So it's like what? Who has to pay for that? Now the animal died. What happens? Okay. וכן, מה שראוי על ידי החג, כגון פרה שאכלה שעורים וחמור שאכל קרשינין או דגים. Yeah, חמור is going to eat דגים? Fish? I don't know. וחזיר שאכל בשר, okay, חזיר eats בשר, we know that. That's not a problem. חזיר eats anything. A pig eats anything, but the chamor eating fish, it's a surprise. That I didn't know. Huh? Tarnagolim?
Maybe only sushi.
Sushi?
Yeah.
Oh, he likes sushi, that's good. וכלב שקלקל את השמן. אפרוחים? מה זה אפרוחים?
Chicks.
Chicks? The baby chicks he eats, the chamor? Wow, this is a chidush. So that's a nice thing. So, okay, so he says, what about the keleb that I don't know, licked from the whole bowl of shemen over there? ותחיל שאכל וחתול שאכל תמרים, okay? We know that animals are not allowed to eat from the fruits. You know, it's another good thing that you're not allowed to eat after them. ואם נהנין משלמת מה שנהנית. So now it's talking about differences. So we know one thing, very important thing to note. Let's say my cow walked into your fields and ate tomatoes. Tomatoes today cost $10 a pound, right? Let's say those are crazy, whatever the tomatoes are, special tomatoes, colorful, beautiful tomatoes, whatever it is, right? And now, what do I pay you? So there's other big questions. What do I pay you? Do we pay you what's the loss, or do we pay you what it enjoyed? It enjoyed. It doesn't matter. If it would have ate the cheap stuff, it would have been satisfied, right? But the fact that it ate the fancy stuff, can I be mechayev the person to pay? All these discussions are in the Gemara. What do I pay? How much I pay? There's a question. Maybe I should just pay what I ate. What I feed my animal. You hear? $5 a week. $5 a week. I buy a special hay. It's $5 a week. Now it came to the tomato field and it ate $10 a pound and ate 100 pounds. You know how much tomatoes? I have to pay $100. What are you talking about? My cow costs me $5 a week to feed. So there's a lot of discussion over there. If it's in somebody else's property, if it's with permission, without permission, all those are in the hot over there in Baba Kama. How it's defined, בעזרת השם. נוהגת בזכרים שעליהן לעשות הדין בכל מקום, הנקבות בכלל דין התשלומים, בין הזיקה או יוזכו. So same thing, it said that the only man could judge, not woman. But however, if a woman does cause damage or she is damaged by a man's property, we have to pay, we have to compensate. בית דין העובר עליה, ולא דן דין זה כמו שכתוב, בטל עשה. One of the things that we don't like today, many people who are trying to fear Hashem, this whole concept of Beit Din, people go to Beit Din. I have a rule, remember the rule is under $250,000, don't take anybody to Beit Din. Somebody wants to sue you, if you're not dying, do pshara, khalas, get out of the Beit Din business, because in Beit Din, the only thing that because we said already, today there is no Beit Din that knows everything, and the Beit Din doesn't have no right to judge Knesset. So the best thing is to settle outside. If you go to Beit Din, anyway they're going to push you to settle. Anyway they push you to settle. So settle and finish as soon as possible. If you could survive it, you compensate the guy and bye-bye. Case closed. Mitzvah 56. That's why we do Tikkun Chatzot. You got the Tikkun Chatzot, Tikkun Leah video. Today we're going to send out the Tikkun Chatzot video of the whole. That's what you do. You don't have to be a Kabbalist. Shulchan Aruch, Bifurash. We got early in the morning. 5 o'clock we start over here. Come over here 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Then you could learn every other thing, whatever you want to learn. You know, join us with Gemara, no problem. But Tikkun Chatzot, we cry to Hashem. Let's go back to Yerushalayim. Give us back our brains. Everybody did today. You hear stories all day. Psharot, everything. Every question, such beautiful questions in Israel. People question. Here you have a sefer over there, Rabbi Zilberstein. And in the end, after the whole limud, in the end, the Beit Din writes Pshara. And also the magazines. My wife used to read what's his name, and the magazines they bring in what did the Beit Din say. In the end, Pshara again, settlements. Come on. What's the law? That's what you're supposed to learn. Otherwise, that Hashem brings us Mashiach, we'll have our clear minds and we'll know what is the law. Mitzvah 56, and Mitzvah Beit Din, Ladun V'Niskei Ha'esh. Now, same thing. A person smokes a cigarette, right? What do they call in America? Smokey Bear says, don't throw, the commercials all day. Don't throw your cigarette butts on the grass. Yeah? The guy smoking throws it in the hole now. He threw in his own property. He wants to burn his own land. Many times what happens when they burn your own land, right? It jumps. I have a problem. Especially when he said the Shemitah, right? He said the Gemara, we learned the other day that if you have food, that you have a lot of from the Shemitah year that's left over, you're supposed to burn it over. Not allowed to keep it for the next year. Right? You gathered a lot. Right? You gathered a lot from Shemitah. So now the animals have nothing else to eat, the chayot, the wild animals in the field. You're not allowed to, in your house, you have a whole barn of straw. You have to whatever is the food, you have to burn everything. All right, now you're burning it, and what happens? As you're burning it, when the fire is a very dangerous thing, jumps the fire, a little spark, or those things that fly in the air, little piece that flies up, a little straw, the wind carries it, lands in somebody else's property. לדון ולחייב ולשמרם מי שהזיק חברו באש. You are obligated to judge these cases and make him pay the person who damages other person's fire. כגון שהדליק את גידישו או שרף לו שום דבר. If you burn anything of your friend, or whatever it is, or you buy a whole barn over there, whatever it is, שנאמר, as it says over there, שמות כ"ה, פסוק ה', כ"ב, שמות, 22nd chapter, pasuk, 5th pasuk, ki tetzeh esh, as it says over there, where the fire comes out of your property. Pirush, tetzeh mashma afilu yetza'a me'atzma. It's talking about that specific case, but you were burning the fire in your land, and the wind picked it up and went and jumped into somebody else's property and burned his whole thing. Chayav. Vale yazir le'azhir, shafilu hamadlik v'toch shelo v'yatza me'atzma. This is what we're discussing about it. he lit from his own. Or now even though he was lighting his own, he's still chayav when it went from his firehouse and went to somebody else's property. He must obligate it to watch. You have to be very careful how you do it. A person is obligated to watch his fire. We used to do srifat chametz. I don't know how you guys do it over here, but in Brooklyn we had it, in Lakewood we had it. We had a whole thing set up. Srifat chametz. You used to take a wheelbarrow, right? Make sure if you take a wheelbarrow, the problem is that if you use the wheelbarrow that it is, the fire of you'll be burning for 3-4 hours. People bring in chametz. The whole block used to bring everything. The problem is the metal is so hot, and usually it has wood. The wood burns through. So the best thing what we had in Brooklyn, we had a wheelbarrow that was used. For concrete. So it has actually a whole layer of concrete in the bottom of it. Now you could burn whatever you want, doesn't damage the wood. Amazing. So we had a whole wheelbarrow. We used to take a parking spot in Brooklyn. You know, we had the side parking, not like here in Hollywood. We had side parking, one street, 2 cars, one row over here, one row here, and cars used to drive in the middle. So what we do, we were a little bit brazen. Right in front of the house, I had a home. Right in the house, I would reserve this parking spot right in front of my house. I would park my car there at night. Then in the morning, I would move it, put up my wheelbarrow with wood all around, and we had like 15 cones all around. 15 cones. Fire department would pass by my house on Erev Pesach. They would be so thrilled. This is a chokhmah. We had a whole hose, water hose, all the way from my house, right next to the fire, cones, garbage can. People put the plastic in the fire, so just throw hametz. And the whole thing, you make a whole system. You are responsible. Be careful, nothing. And if it was windy, don't do it. If it's windy, the wind blows. We had rules: no throwing cardboard, no throwing anything that could fly. To be very good, only wood, only bread. You have to monitor it. I had to pay goyim. Many years I used to have goyim standing there, make sure that let's say if I have to travel, let's say sometimes we travel on Pesach, whatever it is, goyim, and everybody needs to come. This is like a whole thing over here. I don't know how you guys do it over here. And Hollywood, I guess we should learn this other Hashem. Hopefully before that Mashiach comes. If not, then we'll learn. Okay, לפי שלא שמר גחלתו. Okay, שהאדם חייב לשמור ישוע, we said, שדרך יש ללכת מעצמה, אף על פי שאינו בעל חיים, even though, right, we said that the fire, it does not have its own mindset, it doesn't go on its own, it's not an animal, still, you have to be careful to watch it. שורש מתיודו, so we understand all the reason why there is judgment. דיני כגון שיעור הרחקה, בשמרחקין בערה מן המצא שהוא לפי גובה של דליקה. So again, what's the difference? How far you light from the nearest by? So it all depends on the size of the fire, obviously. What happens if you tell a child to go with a torch? Are you obligated or not? So all those things, it's going to be brought up in the Gemara. So what happens if 2 people will have one brought the fire, one brings the wood? So now there's going to be all the discussions in the Gemara. It's kedai to see what happens in that case also. Okay, okay. So what about ruach metzuya, ruach lo metzuya? What ruach metzuya means? Regular wind. All of a sudden, a storm came by, took the fire. Could be like they said, California, right? Normal thing in California, wind comes in, carries the fire. Who's chayav? Who's not chayav? All those things, you need a proper, competent beidin that knows all those calculations, and not just a blank statement by the beidin or whatever they want to do. This obligation, mitzvah number 56, where a beidin has to judge, as also we understand, it's only by males. There's no such thing as women judges. And the beidin that does not try to worry her what's going on, how to clarify the situation. Remember, what is beidin? The most important part of beidin is shalom. The whole point of beidin is to cause peace. And if there's no beidin, if you think you're smarter and you're that, only cause flights and chas v'shalom, not gonna be what we don't need. So the beidin is marich shalom b'medina. If there's judgments, there's going to be cases, and no crime will be committed. B'ezrat Hashem, we live amongst the goyim. Yes, we could be upset about what the goyim are doing, but we have to daven to Hashem Hashem, please have Rahmanut on us, because if the Goyim are unjust, we're going to be the first scapegoat. It's the rule. The Jews are always a scapegoat. It's always the Jews' fault. Like right now, it's already here all over the news, right? It's always the Jews' fault. Every problem. And once they're not so wrong. It's because Jews didn't daven. We say over there, Kohen Gadol is going to be punished if somebody kills somebody by mistake. The Torah says, why is he punished? Why is he punished? Why does Kohen Gadol have to be punished? The Torah says 4 times Kohen Gadol gets punished. Right? Why? Because he didn't daven for his generation. Nobody should harm himself. It's our obligation as Jews. Hashem placed us here for a reason, to daven, and Bezat Hashem yavo goyer b'mirav imenu. Make a lot of money without any headaches. Bezat Hashem. Thank you.